Got some big news out of the NFL where the Bears are trading quarterback Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's been confirmed by our Jonathan Jones. Chicago will reportedly receive a 2025 6th-round pick that can turn into a 4th-rounder if Fields plays more than half the snaps this coming season. That for ESPN. Fields spent the first 3 years of his career in the Windy City after being taken with the number 11 overall pick in the 2021 draft. He'll now head to Pittsburgh, where he's reportedly set to slot in as Russell Wilson's backup quarterback. The Steelers will have until May 2nd to decide whether they'll be picking up Fields' 5th-year option for the 2025 season. All right, for reaction to the trade that was going to bring Justin Fields to the Steel City, we welcome in a man who won 2 Lombardi trophies in black and gold. That's Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, first of all, what's your general reaction when you heard this news? What are the feelings you got?
Man, I was elated. I was excited. I was pumped. I was hyped. Man, I'm fired up. I'm fired up for this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers because, you know, Omar Khan, the general manager of the Steelers, has done a phenomenal job being aggressive, making calculated moves become a reality to improve the team dramatically right now as we see today. And it happened all over again with the Justin Fields move today, as you mentioned. I mean, Russ, you think about this, right? Justin Fields has been one of the more coveted potential quarterbacks that we felt like would be moved for high resources, high picks in return. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be able to get Justin Fields, as we see it right now, for a 6th-rounder. Now, that could be elevated to a 4, depending on the playing time, as you stated. But right now, it's a 6th-round draft pick for a guy who was a top 10 selection a few years ago that also have shown, you know, a nice skill set when you talk about playing the quarterback position. And potentially, he has an opportunity to showcase that he can be a consistent guy. So for the Pittsburgh Steelers, when you look at where the Pittsburgh Steelers were months ago, right? Once the season ended for them, losing in the playoffs to the Buffalo Bills, not knowing exactly what direction they're going to, you know, take, which direction they're going to take at the quarterback position. You know, in a week's time, you sign Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal, only basically playing him a middle 3. And then you ended up losing Kenny Pickett. You traded away Kenny Pickett for a 3rd and a 7th, whatever the case was, but I know you got a 3rd from that deal with Philly. Just to lose Kenny Pickett to go get a backup to Russell Wilson potentially and only give up a 6th-rounder, I mean, it's been a great week. It's been a great weekend for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Look, decisions are going to have to be made. The early reporting is that Pittsburgh intends to have Russell Wilson as QB1 at least to begin. Who do you think the better fit is to start for Pittsburgh, Russ or Fields?
Russ. And the reason why I say Russell Wilson is the better fit is because Russell Wilson was the better quarterback in 2023. He's been overly criticized since becoming, you know, Denver Broncos the last 2 seasons. But yet and still in 2023, we saw a better, improved Russell Wilson than what we saw in 2022. Now, it didn't warrant a lot of wins, but you got to factor in and look at some of the good things he was able to do. And he had them in the playoff conversation at one point in time a year ago. So for me, it's Russell Wilson. And I think understanding and seeing what he was able to do it wasn't the best situation a year ago for the Broncos. But individually speaking, Russell played real good football. So as we see it right now for 2024, I'll go Russell Wilson. But outside of 2024, when you look at the future plans, who knows who the quarterback could be? But you're sitting in a good position because you potentially have that answer for the organization moving forward after 2024.
How much of a leash do you think Russell Wilson's going to get as the starter?
I think he's going to have a nice leash when you talk about leeway for error, right? This is a plus for Pittsburgh because they won 10 ball games, got into the playoffs with up and down quarterback play throughout the majority of 2023. And they found a way to win, not to mention some of the other injuries they were dealing with, not just on the offensive side, but on the defensive side. You know, losing key guys. Remember, Cam Hayward, you know, wasn't with the team health-wise to start the season off. You know, you look at some of the injuries to the linebackers, but they found a way to win 10 ball games. So when you factor in Russell Wilson just being able to provide a sense of stability at the quarterback position, I think his leash should be lengthy, deserving of what we've seen in years past, especially a year ago at the quarterback position. So I think Russ understands that. He sees the window of opportunity for him to revitalize his career. Like I said, he's been overly criticized, but a year ago, Russell Wilson played real good football, Russ. And if you combine his 2 years in a Denver Broncos uniform, he still was like a top 18 type quarterback, top 15 quarterback when you look at his numbers, right? So some of the blame that he's received, I think, has been unfair, because if you look at the structure or the lack thereof that was surrounding him, and Russell wasn't ideal for any quarterback, but yet and still his 2 years of playing there in Denver, he gave the Broncos real good numbers, winning like numbers. So if he can take that same stat production to Pittsburgh, along with everything they have in place with a clean bill of health, you have to like his ability to really revitalize his career and get back in a great light, not to mention get this team in a playoff championship-like conversation, something that we haven't seen in quite some time.
Well, new league year, the Pittsburgh Steelers are certainly off to a noteworthy start with a brand new quarterback room. Bryant McFadden, B-Mac, thanks so much. Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
All right, here's a look at your quarterback depth chart. These are the two. These are the two on the roster right now. You expect the Steelers to pick up another quarterback or two to maybe compete for the QB3 role, but Russell Wilson, your projected starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now Justin Fields going to be traded from the Chicago Bears to the Pittsburgh Steelers for conditional pick, starting as a 6th, could be as much as a 4th round pick in 2025. Interesting days in the Berg.